Hey, what's up, fellas? Same day, different time. It's a little too warm. I was hiding there in the shadows. I'm gonna cross here and hopefully burn my way back into the house. Woo, good God. I don't know. It's in the high 90s or low 100s. So, anyways, holy shit. All right. I've been wanting to tell this story for about 25 years. And it has to do with the first time I had 3 females in the military who were diversity hires, who were put in charge of the EOD unit I was in. I don't know if you know what a EOD unit is, but it's called Explosive Ordnance Disposal. If you want to look it up, the movie's called The Hurt Locker. My ex-first sergeant wrote the screenplay for it, which was turned into a script, which became the movie The Hurt Locker. It's about our unit. Clifford was his name. He retired as a command sergeant major. He's a very good man, but he's a nerd. He's a paperwork guy. He was never a lead by example kind of guy. He was a lead by the fact that I have a fucking degree and you don't. So that was that kind of guy. So 6'2". I usually ranged. I was only allowed to weigh 200 pounds or at the most 205 pounds, but because of my neck and waist, I was about 235 with 11% body fat. So I was just fucking big fucking guy. So I'm at the 36 EOD on Corzo, Panama, and I can't remember the fucking guy's name. White guy. He gets transferred out, and we get a new commander in, and it's a female. And her name is Lynn E. CRUZ. Oh, by the way, she was a lesbian. Oh, by the way, they put her in jail for attacking her maid, sexually attacking her maid. But that doesn't matter. You know what matters? You know what fucking mattered? She had a fucking art degree, and she was art degree. She had a degree in general art, a 4-year degree in general art, and that made her smarter than me, a guy who'd been on the job for 9 years. So. All right, let me just go on. In order for your unit to be considered back in the day when I was in, you had to go through what's called an RTEP. And on top of that, all the enlisted guys had to take a test to prove that we were technically proficient. And then we had to do what's called a tactically proficient test. Now, the captain, the officers, they didn't have to do anything. They just went to the range and fired their little fucking pistols. So, anyways, I was in the top 3% of the U.S. military, U.S. Army. And we have to do what's called an RTEP back in the day. That's where you can physically, mentally, and tactically represent yourself as ready for combat. And I can't tell you the amount of work that was lined up for that. At the time, we didn't have first sergeants. We had master sergeants, and I had a guy by the name of Geringer. We used to call him the little Nazi. He was a little guy. He just, a crooked nose. He just thought he was the toughest guy on the planet. Anyways, let's just move on. So anyways, we start up, and you line up in formation, and you're going from checkpoint to checkpoint. It's called the start line. You cross the start line and your time starts. And then you hit your first checkpoint. And you know, if you're getting shelled or anything, the vehicle's going. Anyways, there's all this kind of other shit to do. And we get maybe, the first 4 vehicles get maybe 150 yards down the road, and we get a call for incoming. What do you think that fucking art major did? Lenny Cruz. What do you think that fucking woman did? She called indirect fire, 105 millimeter, 155 millimeter shells. She shelled us. She wiped us out to the point to where, anyways, and she kept calling fire in on top of us. She couldn't read a fucking map. She couldn't adjust fire. She couldn't call for fire. You know, but she's in charge, you know it, because she's a fucking diversity hire, and she's a woman. So anyways, they end up relieving her. She ends up going on her stupid ass way. And then, I mean, after that, she was just a fucking mess. She would she would talk about playing rugby, and she tried to get out there with some of us. And our first master sergeant, Garen, don't hit her, don't do anything. And she would hit you as hard as she could, and she'd throw a forearm up to your jaw. Anyways, maybe once I picked her up under the armpits and tossed her out of the way like a fucking rat. Anyways. So that's my first dealing with a female being promoted into a unit, a special unit, simply because she's a fucking diversity hire. She was a fucking nightmare. On top of that, we had an operation during that time called Blast Furnace. And because it involved people shooting back at us, she was like, oh, no, I can't go. Guess who got to go? This motherfucker. You know, a guy with a wife and 2 kids. She was single. She should have been leading the charge. Do you know what I mean? Your leaders are supposed to do that. They're supposed to stand up in front and go, follow me. Fuck out of here. So my second one was, I get transferred from there. I go to Andrews Air Force Base, the 149th EOD. It's called a NEST team, Nuclear Emergency Search Team. It's the only one, at that time, it was I don't know what it's like now, but it was the only one of its kind. And we learned how to fucking look for special weapons, look for improvised special weapons, SIEDs, which they were called, Special Improvised Explosive Devices. Say you took a bunch of thorium or it doesn't fucking matter. You just made a dirty bomb. And man, it doesn't fucking matter. So we get this little fucking 5-foot-tall Lee D.T. Sanford. Now, she comes in from the chemical part of the EOD community. And on top of that, she brings her husband, who was as E4 in her unit. I'll say that again. She slept with and married a guy in her unit. An enlisted guy. Which is... Let me just... She couldn't wear the bomb suit. She didn't know how the x-ray worked. She didn't know how to do anything. And I would always fucking have to go with her out on fucking incidents. Incidents where there's a briefcase. Incidents where there's an IED, improvised IED. Or there's a VB, a vehicle-borne IED. And you know what? We would get in the car and she goes, I have this. And she would, our master sergeant at the time, his name was Clifford. That's the guy who wrote the script for the Hurt Locker. He wrote the screenplay, sorry, not the script, the screenplay. And she would tell him, I'm going. I'll take, Jesus Christ, I can't remember, Pals. Yeah, his name was Pals. And at the time, my name was, no, it doesn't matter what my name was. Forsyth. I'll take those 2 guys. And we'd get to the incident site. She wouldn't get out of the fucking car. She'd go, hey, Sergeant, you go ahead and take this one. Every fucking. So then, I finally fight my way back to the 36 OD in Panama. And guess who is our diversity hire? They decide that there aren't enough female master sergeants in charge of units. So they give us a girl by the name of Beverly Ann MARCHICA. BAM. She used to brag about getting fucked in the commander's office. She couldn't run, she couldn't do sit-ups, she couldn't do that. Her teeth were all fucked. Anyways. But she was in fucking charge. All that to say, if you don't do things based upon merit, ability, and you put people in positions. Now, I'm not talking about nepotism and cronyism. That shit's in the business world. But I'm talking in the military where people's fucking lives are on the line. How fucking sad is that? And this is back in the 80s and the 90s. Not the 1880s, not the 1880s or the 1890s, the 1980s and the 1990s. So, unfucking believable. And here's the kicker. We're out in the middle of the desert. We're in what's called a cabal. And shit's getting ready to kick off. 2 days from this day. We haven't had a lot of food. We don't have showers. We have piss tubes. It's a plastic tube about 4.5 feet long, driven into the ground. And then we have slit trenches to shit in. No showers. And we have this logistics female sergeant major. Comes over. She's fat. She's out of shape. She's got like 4 or 5 people on her staff. She's rolling around in our units like, you got to do this, you got to tighten that up. And finally, a couple of the guys, I mean guys that are way bigger than I am, were like, shut the fuck up. She was like, I'll put you out. And anyways, they sent the colonel down. Our colonel, the infantry colonel, down. And they fucking escorted her stupid fucking ass out of there. She never left her tent while the rest of us deployed over 500 to 700 miles away. She just stayed in her tent. But we're not equal. We should try to be as fair as we can. But if it comes down to putting your life on the line, you can't lift a weight. You can't make the road march. If you can't do the fucking job, you shouldn't get the job simply because you're a minority or a female. Nah, man, that's not how this fucking works. Because if you're telling me I have to put my life on the line consistently because you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you're out of your fucking mind. How many female SEALs are there? There's fucking none. And there's a reason there are fucking none. How many SF Delta group, first group? How many fucking group? How many SF people are female? None. Now, you know what they'll have? They'll have a supply sergeant. They're assigned to the unit, but they're not fucking EU. I'm just tired of. I don't have to placate your fucking delusions. I don't have to believe in your delusional attitudes. If you can't do the fucking job, get the fuck out of the way. And it's always those fucking dickheads who sit back there and shine a chair with their ass, telling the rest of us what it's like to be on the front lines. Get the fuck out of here. I called them the guys that gave great slideshow presentations. Fucking chair warriors. Nah, anyways, all right. Anyways, man, I can't even fucking tell you. I can remember the time when Beverly and Marchica, BAM, came over and said, hey, look, we're going on a road march tomorrow. Do you mind if you carry my part of the weight for my backpack? It was 40 pounds. She had to carry 40 pounds. And she gave me not only 20 pounds, so I had to carry 60, and she had... We're not equal, ladies. If you can't do the job, get the fuck out of the way. Yeah, I'm a little wound up. I shouldn't be this wound up. I had no idea those dormant... It's just, they had the ability to ruin my life. And they were fucking terrible. They couldn't do the fucking job. Man, fuck that. All right. Stay safe and healthy. Take care of each other if you can. If you can't, take care of yourself. If you can't do the fucking job, you can't do the fucking job. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter like bricklayers. How many of you women are bricklayers? How many of you people were out here fixing my pool, fixing my car, fixing my roof? Picking up the garbage. I gotta sneeze. Fuck. Anyways, you want to be equal? Do the same fucking job at the same fucking standard a man has to do. If not, shut the fuck up. Do what you can. Of course I'm going to try to be fair to you. But don't act like we're equal. Like a fart in a G-string from West Texas, El Paso. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.